Hi everyone. Welcome to this brand new podcast series on instructional design. Here we are going to talk about almost anything and everything about instructional design in India, about learning and development, about training, and what are the exciting things which you can do in this field, and how do you go about pursuing this field. Today we have our guest with us, Nitika Arya, who is an instructional designer with Genpact. Hi Nitika.
Hi Ankit, thank you so much for having me here. It feels so great to be here, and thank you so much for considering me for this podcast. I think this is going to be my first podcast of my life, so yeah, thank you for that opportunity.
Yeah, welcome Nitika. Glad to have you here. So Nitika, instructional design is not a mainstream career in India. I'm very sure most of our viewers might be hearing this term for the first time. So can you help
Yeah.
us understand what exactly is instructional design?
Sure, absolutely. So nowadays, what happens with me, in fact, it has happened with me multiple times. So every time when I tell anybody that I'm an instructional designer, so their expressions would be what it is. Can you please explain it? Then I have to give them the entire explanation, and they would be like, oh, interesting field, interesting thing. So, yeah, it happens most of the time, but yeah, I would like to share that what is an instructional designer. So, instructional designer is somebody who is involved into creating an educational material, training material that helps learner to acquire new skills, knowledge, and it does not just end over there. It also involve analyzing the learning needs, creating the content, designing it, developing it, and then of course evaluating it. So there are a lot of steps which are involved, but I would say yes, everything is very very interesting.
Yeah. Glad to hear, Nitika. Yeah, in fact, that takes me back to my own initial career transition days when I firstly stumbled upon this term called instructional design, and it really resonated well with me. In fact, I always wanted to get into the field of education. I started my career as a software developer, and we all had our
Oh.
calling that we need to move out.
Yes,
And
yes, absolutely.
so instructional design is all about creating training material in the corporate context. To be very specific, if we get into corporate learning and development, so we are
Yes.
basically trying to not just develop a training, but trying to solve a
Mhm.
business problem as a learning solution.
Right,
The solution to the
right.
business is going to be a learning solution here. That's the only difference here.
Yes, absolutely.
So, Nitika, I mean, there is no professional course as a bachelor's
Yeah.
in instructional design in India. So,
Yes, yes.
what is your personal journey been? How did you
Sure,
land into this field of instructional design? Where did you start your career from, and
sure,
when did you exactly make this transition?
sure, sure. Absolutely. So, I started my career in 2010 with DCB Bank, where I used to be a backend executive. My primarily work was to interact with customers and manage the backend activities of the bank. Then, after 3 years serving over there, I thought now it's the time that where I should look for some new assignment. Then I joined TCS. TCS has been wonderful, and at TCS itself, I actually discovered what I really want to do. So in 2013, when I joined TCS, I was part of a training batch, and there our trainer, her name is Prerna Sharma. I used to observe her a lot, and I used to get fascinated by that profession, and I used to feel, the way she handles our batch, the way she conducts herself, all of that. I felt that probably someday I also want to do something of this sort, because I enjoy being with the audience. I enjoy talking to people, interacting with them, writing, and all of those. Then so initially in TCS, I was an incoming agent. So our process was Citibank. So I used to handle customers' query, whether it was on their retail banking, credit cards, and all of that. Then in 2015, there was an internal vacancy for quality analyst. and I applied for that position. I spoke to my super boss, but she wasn't very convinced in the beginning. She was definitely a hard nut to crack. So I told her that, I can prove you that I am capable of doing this work. And she was like, okay, I'm going to test you. So you will have to prepare a presentation and you will have to deliver it in front of the L&D team. And in case if we like you that way, then only I can think about it. And I was like, okay, challenge accepted. So then I took a topic, prepared, and I delivered the presentation in front of them. I would not say that it went really well. It was excellent, no, nothing like that. It was average, probably above average. But my boss, she came to me and she said that, your performance, right? It wasn't very great. I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm aware of it. But then she said, Nitika, but what I really liked about you that you were very confident while you were delivering the presentation. We were asking you a lot of questions and you were confidently answering them. So I think that you would definitely be the right fit. And I got really, really happy that day.
Hmm.
And based on my performance, I work really hard. And based on my performance around 2018, she made me the process trainer. There I used to handle the training of more than 150 agents on our floor. So yeah, so that is how in 2018 finally I get into the L&D field, and I really like this field, learning and development, because there is so much room always to learn something new. There
Yeah,
is always something interesting that is coming up, and the group of people, they would always be discussing something or the other thing.
hmm.
So one thing that it is never boring, it is always interesting. And in fact most of the people, most of the L&D people I've met in life, they actually have a lot of passion towards learning and developing themselves as well as the others, obviously.
Hmm.
So then in 2019 November around, again the same stagnant feeling, I thought that now it's time to do something new. Then I joined Dine Out, Times Internet, one of their business, Times Internet business. There I was working as assistant manager training program. So my work primarily there was creating the content, connecting with stakeholders, understanding the learning needs, analyzing them, then assigning the training to the front end trainers. So my exposure of writing the content, understanding the content, designing it, basically came from there, and connecting with the, of course, stakeholders for training need identification, all those things. And in 2020 when corona happened to be in our life, when everybody was just sitting home, and that time I think everybody explored a lot of things. So there were people who were into cooking, people were writing poems, share or shairi, and lot other things. So that time I thought, and on LinkedIn, I think there was a lot of buzz about instructional designing, e-learning, development, designing, all those things. I actually became very, very intrigued towards it. I really wanted to know what it is.
Hmm.
Then I started connecting with people in my LinkedIn network itself. And I spoke to two, three people. I understood what exactly this field is, what these people are doing. The title is very fancy, but
Yeah.
hota kya hai? Just let me know.
Exactly.
Okay, they gave me a little bit of understanding, but it wasn't clear that what it is in its actual form.
Hmm.
Then I took one course on Coursera to build some foundation knowledge. It
Hmm.
it Because of that course, I got to know about a lot of things which I already knew. For example, ADDIE model, Kirkpatrick model, design principles. I was like that these things I'm already aware of, but why I am not? Then I should be an instruction designer. Why I'm not an instruction designer then?
I had a very
So
same feeling. In fact, when I firstly discovered these models, I felt like I
yes,
kind of know them already. I kind of have implemented this at
yeah,
my college level projects, and the process
yes,
is kind of same. It's just in a learning context.
yeah,
So I think that's a self discovery through which every instructional designer
yes.
goes through.
I'm sure. And in fact, a person, that person told me also, Nitika, when you'll start learning these things, no, you'll get to know that there are a lot of things that you already know because
Right.
you are part of the L&D field. I mean, since so many years.
Mm.
So then I did one more certification from Middle Earth HR,
Mm.
that is certified instructional designer.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, which again is very fancy, is storyboarding. So they gave me all the theory and everything about it, but storyboard was again a Greek thing for me. I was going on YouTube and typing what is storyboarding, but it is giving me something else only.
Mm. Mm.
So storyboard was something that I never did, and I wasn't aware of what is storyboarding, how you can proceed with it, all those things. Then I started looking for a job that probably I will not be able to, till the time I'm not getting to do that work,
Mm.
whatever I have learned in these certification, it will all go in vain.
Yeah,
It is
landing
of
of
no
first
use
job.
if I'm not.
Landing of
Yeah,
first job is absolutely crucial. I mean,
yeah. So you will have to do something practical, some practical assignments, otherwise you will just forget all those things.
yeah, yeah.
So then I stumbled upon Aptara, and I got to know that they're looking for instructional designers. And I interviewed, I got selected. There I learned storyboarding basically. So they were working on one project,
Hmm.
Emeritus, that is an online learning platform.
Hmm.
There I worked on few courses, and that is how it started. So the journey is amazing as of now.
That's quite of an interesting journey, Nitika. So I think the three
Thank you.
things which our viewers can take away from this is if they want to break into this field of learning and development and instructional design, they need to leverage on their LinkedIn connections. A second, pursue
Absolutely.
the relevant certifications and courses, and
Yes.
C, land your first job ASAP.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very well summarized. So, yes, definitely these are three major steps one needs to take if one is willing to get into this field.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. Makes sense. Makes sense. So, Nitika, can you just tell us what does your ideal day in Genpact looks like as an instructional designer? So, and I'm really fascinated to ask this question because I've seen a lot of day in the life of an instructional designer already. However, as we all know that instructional design is majorly dominated by the US market, hence the videos which
Yes.
are coming out are also in the US context. So, as an Indian
Yeah,
instructional designer, what does a day like an ID looks like in an Indian corporate?
sure. So I would say that if I take an example of one of the project that I did recently, so first is understanding and reviewing what the project all about. Then moving on, understanding the client's expectation. What is the client which, what is that thing that he is asking for? What is going to be the final output? And then of course when we have the some of the content in hand, the expectation in hand, now it comes to the how we are planning to design it, then how we are planning to develop it, then sitting the team all together brainstorming on those things that in case we are planning to show or present this particular content in this way, how it should look like
Can you help
you
us
know
walk through an example? Maybe it would be more convenient to understand with
Sure.
of an example.
Sure. So recently I worked on a video project. We were asked to create two videos, and it was a biologics company, some pharmaceutical company it was. So they were doing one of their very important events in Canada. And their vision was that these two videos will be played over there for their learners. At the end of the video, there was one game as well, and that game had some key learnings for them. So of course we connected with them, we try to understand that this is the content and this is how it should be presented in the form of video. And they were, one thing that they were very specific, they were having this event on a Formula 1 race. So all the graphics that they were wanting, it should be aligned to their theme. So that was majorly their theme.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, once we got to know that this is the client's expectation, this is going to be their theme, this is the deadline, then all of us, two instructional designers, me and my colleague, and our GD team, graphic designer team, we sat together, we understood, we finalized the graphics, and then we started creating the storyboard and then the final output.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. So, I mean, so that our viewers don't get overwhelmed, I would like to summarize it.
Yeah.
You firstly get the client requirements from the client, then you sit and brainstorm that what could be a best
Yes.
learning solution to address this problem. And it necessarily
Yes.
doesn't have to be e-learning all the times. It could be any
Hmm.
sort of training. And then
Yes.
once that is agreed upon, then we finalize upon storyboard. So
Yes.
storyboard might be a new term for someone who is completely naive to this field. So I would like to explain it's nothing but just a terminology used to describe screen by screen level description of what
Hmm.
is going to appear on the screen once
Absolutely.
we are going to.
Yeah, it includes graphics, OST, on-screen text, animation, all those things.
Hmm.
What you want to plan to show on that particular screen, how you want to present the content.
Hmm.
So that is
I think a lot of
the
teachers
collection
would
of
relate
everything.
to this, and immediately once they are seeing a storyboard, they will be quickly tied back to a lesson plan. Okay, now lesson plan
Yes,
is
yes,
a storyboard actually. A storyboard is nothing but just yet another form of lesson plan. In lesson plan, you are planning a
yes,
session. In storyboard, you are converting the same plan on a screen by screen level because an e-learning
yes,
once made is deployed and thousands of learners are going to be skilled upon it, right? So everything needs to be in place on a screen by screen level, and hence we are
hmm,
putting everything out on that plan on a screen by screen level. And that one screen is called story,
yes.
right?
Yes, absolutely. And it is not just about creating a video or e-learning, because my thought when it comes to ID, people usually think that it is just going to be something in e-learning only. So
Mm,
it is not about that. The first project in Genpact that I worked on, it was the collection of everything, I would say. So first we created ILTs, then we worked on e-learning as well. We created demos, we created job aids. So it was everything.
mm,
So when it comes to ideas, it is just not been that you have to work on the articulate storyline or you have to just develop it in some particular tool and it is just limited to storyboarding. No,
yeah,
nothing like that.
yeah, absolutely.
It
And
is
I've
about
seen this,
everything and it is about all kind of
hmm.
learning materials.
And I've seen this problem quite a bit in
Yeah,
previous
in fact,
corporates
my
where,
initial understanding was the same.
yeah, and
I mean,
also
two
whenever,
things.
yeah, sure, sure. I was just saying that I mean, whenever the focus is on tool and not on the learning
Hmm.
experience, we are
Hmm.
signing up for a failure because a tool,
Absolutely.
yeah, because a tool is not going to give you out the learning solution. It
Hmm.
is just going to give you a chunk of what is needed.
Hmm.
What is going to
Hmm.
matter at the end is what is the learning experience. So it should
Hmm.
be learner centric. The end learner should be at the end. The learner doesn't give a crap about your tool, right? To be honest, if I am a learner
Absolutely.
and I'm investing in
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
learning solution, I want my learning gaps to be covered. I don't care whether it is coming out of Adobe
Got
Captivate or Articulate Studio or Camtasia, right? So that learner empathy is really crucial, and
Hmm.
that end goal always
Hmm.
needs to be the front face of any learning solution.
Absolutely. You will always have to keep your audience in mind. That's the
Hmm.
primary thing. And in fact, when I was initially learning about this field, I also used to feel the same way. That it is just about creating the storyboards, and it is just about developing it in articulate storyline. So every time I used to connect with people, I just used to talk about these things.
Hmm.
But in one of my courses that in fact the certifications that I did from Middle Earth HR, the faculty said
Hmm.
it is not just about creating a storyboard, it is not just about learning a particular tool. These are other things and these comes in the later stage. First you should understand a lot of things.
Yeah.
You should know how to analyze the need of the audience. You should know how to analyze the audience first.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first step,
Absolutely.
and then it goes. And the you are just coming to this field and you are just saying कि मुझे story board करना सिखा दो, I will become an ID. No, that is not going to help you in any way.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally resonate with this. In fact, there's a lot of buzz about gamification these days, gamification
Yeah.
in e-learning. And I am a little
Mm-hmm.
skeptical about it because it might work, it might not work. Again, it depends upon the audience profiling and the initial
Right.
our audience's need analysis which we are doing. So I
Absolutely.
completely agree with you. Okay, so so now the most important part, the salaries.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it is
yeah,
definitely the most important part.
what does the salaries look like in the
Hmm.
field of learning and development?
Okay, so yeah, salary is definitely good. So if you are a fresher and you are starting your career in ID, then you can expect 4 to 5 lakhs. However, if you are moving, up in the hierarchy, then of course you can get hefty amount of salary every month, which can even go up to 40 to 50 lakhs as well. Yeah, so its salary part is very nice in this field.
That sounds quite good. I mean, the number when compared to other careers, I mean, it's at par with
Yes,
other popular IT careers like software development, software
yes.
testing, and DevOps. So,
Hmm.
so I think, as per my understanding, so this is how the hierarchy looks like. You join as an instructional designer, and if you're joining as a
Yes,
fresher,
then
yes, you can expect around 4 to 6 lakhs. Although that is highly dependent on the kind of organization that
yes.
you're going
Hmm.
into and the kind of skill
Definitely.
sets that you're bringing to the table. So even as a fresher,
Hmm.
you can expect to go as high as 7 to 9 lakhs per annum. And
Hmm.
as you
Hmm.
grow into your career, you move up to senior instructional designer. There you can expect a
Hmm.
salary between 13 lakhs to 20 lakhs per annum. Then as you move up the ladder, you transition into a managerial role where you are managing a team
Yeah.
of instructional designers and taking care of
Hmm.
the entire learning and development initiative of an organization. So,
Hmm.
as a
Hmm.
learning and development manager, you can expect to make close to 20 to 30 lakhs. I mean, that is what I know of as far as I have spoken to the seniors in the field and the L&D managers in the
Wow.
companies like JP Morgan and all the top tier
Hmm.
companies. So yes, and then sky's the limit. Then you can go up
Yeah,
as
of
high as
course.
chief learning officer and even become a partner in the organization. I think KPMG is doing a really good job in instructional design these days. I've seen
Very
them
nice.
launching a instructional design program. So
Yeah, yeah, I've seen that as well. I think yesterday only I was doing some research and I was looking for some courses.
uh,
I actually saw something from KPMG itself. So
mm,
yeah, I think that could be our next assignment too.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, in fact, I have never regretted coming into this field. I mean, when
Same here, same here. Absolutely, same here.
because comparing the amount of stress, let's say as a software developer, I can share the amount of stress which comes with a software developer job. I mean, it really follows you
Hmm.
to home. I mean, the next day, the very next day,
Yeah.
you're thinking about what are you going to speak up in the scrum call. Did your did your last night bug
Yeah.
get resolved or not? So that pressure is constantly there. However, in the
Yeah.
field of instructional design, I think there is no one who is putting a knife at your neck. I mean,
Hmm.
as long as you have agreed upon a solution, you have communicated that to your stakeholders, you're good to go.
Hmm.
I mean, it's not like the very next day you will be expected to deliver an entire
Hmm.
solution. You have that
Hmm.
sufficient window.
Hmm. Yes.
And this is something I really enjoy, that I get that creative window to really think
Hmm.
about what should be the
Yes.
best thing here.
Absolutely.
Unlike
In
programming,
fact, when
where you have
yeah,
to
I'm sorry.
where you have to just you are very rule based and you have to stick to all those syntaxes and all, and even if there is a slight deviation from colon, then bang on, your
Hmm.
entire code has just just uh,
Hmm.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
bombarded and exploded. So with ID, I feel that it's more of a creative process. It's more of a creative
Hmm.
field rather than a
Hmm.
rigid and very structured field.
Absolutely right. In fact, my experience has been like that only. So I never felt very, very pressurized, wherein I have to deliver some work into, into some set deadline. Obviously, there is a deadline that you need to follow, but it is not that, that you will have to do the delivery in one day. You will have to deliver the storyboards or, something or the other in first day itself. You actually get a lot of time to think, explore, and add your creativity into that. So in fact, as of now, my experience has been like that. I feel that it was I've been given enough time to think, explore, and add my creativity to it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
In this, there is nothing like that. This is the only solution. I mean, the best
Yeah,
solution can be multiple solutions, and also we talked about
yeah,
different formats as well. Okay, so Nitika, now please
yeah.
tell us what does the future holds for instructional design in India? What with all these technologies coming in metaverse, AR, VR, what do you think? How is the instructional design landscape going to transform in the coming years, and how do we keep
Hmm.
up with the pace? We are already seeing Chat GPT writing design documents and learning objectives for us. So, are we going to get obsolete, or are we going to stay relevant? What is it exactly that we need to do here?
I will share one funny and interesting instance with you. So recently at my organization, two of my colleagues, they conducted a session on ChatGPT,
Hmm.
and audience were there were quite a good number of audience, probably more than 50 people in the call, and a few of them were SOP writers, right? So
Hmm.
they were somebody who used to write technical writing only. And when my colleagues, they were giving the demo of chat gpt, that see how it can write the learning objective, sop, and all of that, and it actually gave a very, very nice and pretty sop in front of them, and all of them were like, literally they were furious on the call, and they were like, okay, there were so many responses in the chat that, yeah, are we going to get replaced? That is why this session is happening in the organization. So the manager was also there, and she was like, no, no, guys, calm down, there is nothing of this sort is going to happen. You just see the limitation of this tool as well. While there are multiple advantages, at the same time there are limitations as well. Then they gave us the demo of those limitations as well, and they actually heaved a sigh of relief, and they were like, okay, we are fine, we're not going anywhere, at least in near future. So, however, if we talk about that, what is the future that looks like? I think the future is promising. Even if there are a lot of technologies which are coming in, making people's life easier, and there is a possibility that few of the jobs, they could be replaced as well. But I would still say that the human touch is not going to get go anywhere. Even if the chat gpt is giving you the learning objective, it is creating a design document for you, but you can't just rely on that blindly. You will have to apply your own experience, your own mind or brain, and you will have to fine tune it. You just can't say that, this is what the chat gpt has given me and this is the final version. No, that's not like that. So what we should do, that we should keep ourselves equipped with these technologies which are coming in. We should keep ourselves updated. At the same time, we should not be in this fear that we will be replaced. No, there is
Yeah,
nothing of this sort
absolutely.
that is
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
happen.
I
Yes.
think in the future there's going to be this segregation of people who can use these
Yes.
tools
Yeah.
effectively and people who
And
are still sticking to those old trivial methods, and people who are definitely going
yeah.
to adopt as per the tools. They
Hmm.
are the ones who are
Hmm.
going to shine out and going to keep up with the
Absolutely.
technology. And also,
Yeah. So. Hmm.
I would like to share a personal insight here. With the emergence of metaverse and the AR and VR, I can
Hmm.
see that now we are progressing towards more of a 360-degree kind of learning experience. I
Hmm.
already explored
Hmm.
few of the certifications which are coming in the market, and people are already talking about how do we create an immersive learning experience now. How do
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
actually suppose, and it could
Hmm.
be used in very difficult situations, like suppose we have to give a fire training to someone, right, for fire drill.
Hmm.
So fire safety
Hmm.
drills. So now
Hmm.
initially the training was being conducted in a physical environment, and there was a humongous hazard to be possessed while going through such trainings, maybe nuclear
Hmm.
safety trainings, fire hazard trainings. All
Hmm.
of that can be
Hmm.
now simulated in a VR experience, and all of
Yes,
those
absolutely.
mishaps, like suppose a fire explosion,
Hmm.
we can actually
Hmm.
feel that in the VR.
We can avoid it. Yes,
Yeah,
through these
I
things.
mean, I think future is really promising, and as far as we keep upskilling
Yeah.
ourselves, we are only going to
Hmm.
do better and better in terms of learning solutions that we are providing.
Absolutely. So this is the message to all the audience here that we should not feel scared that these new technologies are coming in. So what will happen to our jobs? Rather, we should think that how we can upskill ourselves and how we can learn to use these tools effectively. So here the upgradation of self is very, very important in that sense.
Absolutely. So I think that's all for this podcast, and we will close out here. Thank you, Nitika, for joining us, and we really appreciate that you made some time on a weekend and joined us on this very first podcast. And we hope all of you liked and enjoyed it, and obviously are going to take away some insightful discussions out of this. And let us know if you want more of such videos, and we will be happy to invite more people from the learning field on our podcast and learn from them and share the knowledge around. So bye everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ankit. Happy to help. Bye bye. Thank you so much.
uh,
No
if you need
problem.
a break,
Okay.
थोड़ा सा 2 minute stretch break, take it. Okay.
अच्छा नहीं आई जस्ट वांट टू रिकॉर्ड इट एंड फिनिश इट ऑफ बिकॉज अभी मैं उस जोन में हूँ ना तो अभी
हाँ,
आई कैन
नहीं
जस्ट
अच्छा जा रहा
टॉक
है, एकदम
अबाउट
बढ़िया,
इट
फर्स्ट क्लास जा रहा है.
द सैलरी इज डेफिनेटली इट इज लुक्रेटिव सही वर्ड है ना वैसे लुक्रेटिव है ना आई एम जस्ट रिपीटिंग अगेन
आई थिंक गुड
ओके
गुड गुड ज्यादा अच्छा है. सैलरी लुक्रेटिव मतलब बहुत ही अच्छी. आई थिंक गुड.
चलो ठीक है मैं ज्यादा स्ट्रेच नहीं करती हूँ इस पे मैं थोड़ा शॉर्ट में बोल देती हूँ
That's it for this. क्या हो रहा है?
it's okay, it's
लास्ट
okay.
पार्ट में कहाँ थे हम?
Are you not going to ask that funny question? वो funny वाले questions यार मैंने
ऑलरेडी
शेल्डन
ऑलरेडी
मैंने
बहुत
actually
लंबा
prepared किया।
ऑलरेडी बहुत लंबा हो गया है, आई थिंक.